For the ones who make over $150K a year, what do you do to get that? Honestly, the fastest way to get there is to job hop. I'm older, and there is no longer a reward for long-term employment. Pensions aren't a thing anymore, and employers don't give a shit to retain you. Leverage a new job for better pay. Also, don't be afraid to apply for jobs where you don't meet 100% of the qualifications. Those things are a wish list for employers, and I recommend you shoot your shot. Those last two sentences hit hard. I passed on applying for something because it had a technical requirement I didn't know. One of my colleagues, who is significantly less technical than me, went for and got it. A few years later, and she's basically one step below C-suite, and I am not. She's a good friend, so I'm happy for her, but fuck, man. I still think about that shit, and it was years ago. I started making YouTube videos about speedrunning for fun. They got popular, and each year I earned more and more from them. Now, 7.5 years later, I'm doing it full-time with nearly 2 million subscribers. I'm incredibly fortunate and didn't really seek this job out in the first place, but I'm so grateful that I get to do it. So this doesn't help anyone, but it certainly fits. I worked sales for a company that sold ATMs. We hired a new guy. First week on the job, a Chinese bank cold called him and ordered, no joke, 20,000 ATMs. The dude got his bonus check and quite. He make over 200K that year. Air traffic control. I don't think any amount of money would convince me I could actually do that job. I'd be landing planes on top of each other. I do transport for a mortuary in the SF Bay area, picking up dead bodies. My base pay is about 80K, but I get plenty of extra hours and overtime because I'm pretty much the only one who volunteers to do the SoCal and out-of-state trips. We will only go as far as Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, and the border towns of Mexico. With all the overtime, I easily make $150K plus. Slot game mathematician. You know how they say the games are rigged? I'm the guy that rigs it from math scratch work to the code that runs it. What would be neat is if everyone also included the number of hours they work per week. Software engineer, 150K plus stock, 40 hours a week, work from home so I get my cats to hang out with. Every 6 weeks or so, I'm on call for work, which can occasionally make me work another few hours and potentially get woken up at 4 a.m. by a page to my phone. Ship captain, 250K-ish for about 180 days of work. Field service technician, travel 300 days a year with a 50-pound suitcase and 50 pounds toolbox, troubleshooting and fixing industrial equipment. I'm a steam fitter. Basically, I build industrial piping systems. Moved up the ladder after I got my license, and now, with all the OT on the jobs I run, I make somewhere around 200K. Sacrifice my mental health and my personal relationships. Are you a doctor? I used to care about identifying myself, but I don't give a shit if I get fired anymore. So I'll tell you, I am a GM at a global 3PL. My client is a well-known luxury fashion house. I drive over 100 miles round trip every day for everyone on my team and my client's team to throw their problems at me, including the problems they can easily solve on their own. I am surrounded by people with massive egos. My wife hates me. I leave for work before my son wakes up and I come home regularly 10 minutes before his bedtime, usually too tired to do anything but sit and stare at the TV with him until bedtime. He's 6. I'm sure he'll grow up to hate me too. I spend my weekends trying to catch up on chores, but I never catch up. I have no friends. I have no meaningful personal relationships. All I am is my job, and my job is, in the grand scheme of things, meaningless. I have completely lost my passion for life, and I have no real purpose. I should have learned how to weld. Reading all these at 30, barely making $20 an hour hurts my soul. Went back to school at 27 for electrical engineering. After I graduated, I felt like I had the momentum to keep going, so I got my master's. I was able to land 3 different internships starting about my junior year, which helped gain me some experience in the field. Graduated at 34 and landed a job at Apple. Been here ever since. I'm in B2B technical sales. I sell industrial starch to paper mills and charcoal plants. Base salary is $135K a year. Over the past 5 years, bonus has ranged from $40K to $70K based off company performance. We mostly hire engineers, or at least people with technical background for our sales roles. Orthopedic surgeon, made big sacrifices socially, traveling, income during 20s and early 30s while training. I'm 36 years old, just starting my 3rd year of practice and make $840K straight salary. Probably work about 55 hours a week. It's incredibly rewarding, but also very stressful. IT manager. Consultants tell me what needs to be done. I say, okay, not my money. Just make sure things are running smoothly. Power engineer, or commonly known as a stationary engineer in the USA. Don't believe I've made less than $150K in about 15 years. Asset project manager. Started working there when I was 18. Broke $100K at 34, and I'm currently 42. Only have a high school diploma. Most of the time, switching companies is the only way to get a big salary bump, but I lucked out. Lawyer here, making $520 to $550K, $390K base salary, and $130 to $160K in bonus. My pay is very standard for a lawyer at a large corporate firm, as big law lawyers are paid in lockstep for the first 7 to 8 years. I have 5 years of experience, and essentially every other sixth-year lawyer at a large firm in a major U.S. city makes the same amount I do. Takes way more of my time than I'd like, but it's exciting and pays well. I sit in an office and I check my email in the morning, answer a phone call or two, go to lunch around noon or so, reply to an email in the afternoon, listen to my voicemails, and then head home around 5 or so. Lawyer, USA. Undistinguished academic record from an undistinguished law school. Took me a while to get my first legal job, which I still have. Started at $65K. About to start my 4th year at $150K. Strictly WFH, no billable requirement, generally very easy and low stress. Occasionally I get to help people, can't complain. By the standards of the profession, I am not paid well. By the standards of the profession in my geographic area, it is a fine living. By my standards, grew up rural and pretty poor, I am doing just dandy. The real questions is going to be, do I try to job hop to increase my salary and possibly find more stimulating work too? Or do I just look in the mirror every morning and say, bro, we are so lucky, and use my copious free time for other things? Lineman. Applied for an apprenticeship after I got my CDL, rest is history. Pay varies by OT, can range anywhere from $170K to $300K, depending how much you want to work.